Welcome to something new from us as Eightseven. It's called One Kick from Glory. It's our brand new podcast, so we're going to be discussing all things football for now. And today I'm joined, of course, by Craig in the corner and Matthew. We're going to be talking about the brand new season that's coming up. So before we get into all of that, how has everyone found the summer? Starting with you, Matthew.
In terms of football, well, getting over the obvious kind of final. I'm standing by what I'm saying, where I was proud about the progress we made. I mean, I don't think many people kind of thought they'd get that far in the first place. I definitely didn't, and I always did say this was Italy's tournament to lose. So I'm really proud of the guys getting that far. We can always criticize. I think criticism's okay. It's just when it gets to the R word. That's when the problems kind of start, and it seems a shame that we have to talk about that. But there's not much more I can say about it, because what's been said has been said. I've said it on social media. I'm not saying it again. We've got to grow from this. We'll come good. There's a World Cup next year. We'll come good. So let's just keep the faith and just be really proud of the boys and see where we can end up in Qatar, watching it near Christmas, which is going to be really bizarre. So, and let's get ready for club football again. So, well, you can't see when I do that. Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Chelsea fan, obviously. So, got to look forward to. So, yeah, bring on 21-22 season. So, yeah.
And we're going to touch on your club allegiances more in a second. So, for you, Craig, what would you say was one of your highlights of this past summer?
After, say, the Euros, it's been England doing well. A lot of players who never had tournament experience have got great experience now. And I feel that in the future, it'll buy them well in the future.
Now, of course, as Matthew said, the new season's almost upon us. And before we get into our predictions for the season, what we're expecting, how things might go, we have, of course, got the massive news, which is obviously shaking the world of football. Lionel Andres Messi leaving Barcelona and heading to the money bags of Paris. Now, back over to you, Matthew. When you heard that news, what were you thinking?
I was just thinking, I was thinking this was never going to even happen. You saw Messi his allegiance to Barcelona and Catalonia as a citizen of Catalonia. He's going to go down as a Barcelona legend, irregardless. Would it be nice to see him retire there? Yes. I wouldn't say. It's one of those things where you could see coming. The only club who could probably afford this man would be him. But just thinking of the potential of the attacking options they have at Paris with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. A lot of people thinking football itself is done. It's winning literally everything under the sun, including that elusive Champions League that they're so clearly after. They can only really go up from here. They have to win. If it goes through, or if all goes through with financial fair play and any other players leaving, obviously. But I'm surprised more than shocked if that makes sense. It's just kind of what to expect coming up in the future. But hey, it's made the transfer stories really entertaining. I've just been checking Sky Sports every single time to see what's coming through, waiting to wear that Magic Paris shirt now. Just what is going on? Football sometimes just never fails to disappoint. It's gonna be more entertaining seeing him transfer saga than seeing him play. It's just so much fun.
And for you, Craig, I guess looking at that news, I mean, growing up, having watched a whole different bunch of leagues and seeing how the French league has been perceived in the past, and obviously there's always been these debates of it's a farmers league and who's got the best league and where does it rank after the Bundesliga, because obviously people don't put it in the top three. What do you think this now signifies for French football, and especially for just the outlook of it going forward?
Well, it's going to help. The growth of it's going to be better for them. And the experience of Messi is going to help promote the league even more. It's going to be more of a higher ranked league. More people are going to want to watch the league because of Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria. All the top players are playing in France. So it's going to be good for the league. More TV revenue is going to go up. More people are going to want to be a PSG fan because of Messi. And I think, as Matthew said, it's Champions League or bust for them this season. They have to win it.
That's the crazy thing.
They have to win it.
That expectation now.
The expectation is high. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot Sergio Ramos as well. Sorry, Sergio Ramos.
Yeah, I mean, Paris Saint-Germain have done some really great business this window. They've picked up some very, very smart free transfers. Donnarumma at the back, Ramos just in front. They bought Ashraf Hakimi.
Oh yeah.
Very, very smart signing. And then of course you go into midfield, Wijnaldum on a free, and then you go even further forward. And of course they've added now the crown jewel to top off what has been a brilliant summer of business. So yeah, their expectations for them will be very, very high. And it will be interesting to see how Pochettino manages this squad, because if he doesn't deliver, then it's going to be really, really crazy for him.
Definitely.
It's going to be really interesting. And of course, obviously flipping over from, I guess the other thing with Messi is that like he didn't want to leave. And it says a lot about the financial changes that's happened in the world because of COVID, because of just poor management by these clubs of their finances, that he's had to make the decision to go to another place. And of course, with that in mind, we look across to the summer transfer window in the UK. It's been very slow. Not a lot of moves happening. Obviously, £100 million wonder boy, Jack Grealish, going from Aston Villa to Manchester City. In your opinion, Matthew, because you guys have got a really big deal almost done, hopefully be done by the time this is out, but it's not done yet, for Romelu Lukaku. What do you think about that £100 million move with Grealish going to Man City?
Do I think he's worth it? Do I think he's worth it as a player? No, but again, I think we talked about this just before we started. This is that football is more than just about play. It's more. It's almost now as much a business as it is a sport. And I think looking from that point of view is actually going to be. It could be a very lucrative business, and for both clubs. Villa get the 100 million, which they can use to expand, because if you look at how they've done lately, they've been progressing from 17th. They finished 11th last year, had a great start to the year. They've had some great transfers this year. So you can only read, they're clearly on the march up, going back to where they perceive themselves to be. As for Man City, again, it's going to be a good business, because we look at them as, you know, this almost complete team. But let's not forget the players that have left the club.
That's true.
And a lot of the players right now, even from last year, I know they won the league and they kind of went behind everyone's back and just kind of shrewd their way to the top. But they've had no recognised striker. As good as Jesus is, he's not filling that hole for Aguero. But I think they'll sort that out. Sterling didn't have a great year. Mahrez didn't have a great year. Yet they still won the Premier League. Do I think, will they probably win the league again? Probably. But again, as PSG, the one they really want is the one with the big hoops. That's the one that he really wants. That's the one that they really want. And Jack Grealish said himself he left to play Champions League football. So I wouldn't pay £100 million for him personally, but that's why I'm sitting here and they're working for football. Clearly, I know nothing. But so if this could actually work out, should work out quite well for both of them, really.
And would you say then that Jack Grealish was the missing piece, Craig, to the Man City puzzle?
It depends how you look at it, because they have Foden, they've got Sterling, they've got Bernardo Silva, they've got Mahrez. So maybe what they're trying to do is either one or two of them might be going, and they're trying to build for the future. And I think potentially Grealish got great potential. So I think the reason why it's 100 million is because they're buying his potential. So
not the English tax.
That as well.
I think it's the English tax.
Yeah, but they're buying on potential, because they see that they can, maybe Guardiola can develop a great player get more out of him what he was getting out of Aston Villa, and get taken to a next level, like what they did with Sterling. When Sterling first came to Man City, it wasn't the Sterling that we know of today. He was scoring goals, but not as frequently how he was scoring them when Guardiola put his arm around him and said, "This is what I want you to do. I can get the best out of you, and I'll show you how I did it with other players before at previous clubs."
He was England's best player at the Euros as well.
100%.
And that training over time. I mean, Sterling's he's
26 now.
He's got 2 more tournaments in him at least, maybe even 3. But it shows that when he came over from Liverpool, he was quite raw when he came over from Liverpool. And since he's been under that kind of, that, like Craig said, the arm around that coach type figure to make him better. To make him better than a better player than he could ever be, I think shows so much. There's always, it goes back to like one time I remember when they won the FA Cup. They won 6-0 against Watford in the FA Cup. 6-0, and Pep was still telling him what to do. And he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing with I look at the Grealish transfer and I think it could work out really well for him. I think it's an interesting place to go to. Obviously, Man City are on the up and they've won a lot, but the only thing with Guardiola's teams are they're quite robotic. So I don't know whether he'll be able to express himself the way he does now for Villa, or even when he's got opportunities for England, if he'll have that freedom to do that, because Guardiola is quite. He's very, very like I said, he's very hands-on in how he does stuff, and maybe it's to a fault because you need some kind of flexibility with your front players. So maybe that's the thing he might learn, and maybe something that could change.
The only thing I'll say about that is when he was at Villa, I had this discussion with my brother once where they were talking about Vardy possibly going to Arsenal from Leicester, and looking back on it, you're saying I can see why Vardy didn't leave. Same way why you probably wouldn't see Grealish leave. He signed a deal last year for 5 years. He was the man at his club. The same way that Vardy was the man for a long time at Leicester. I see what you mean there, where his freedom might be restricted, because when he was at Villa, he was, let's face it, the man. He was a captain. So he's kind of that player where he's like a luxury where you tell them you go on and you do what you got to do best. So I didn't think of it that side where Pep might, it could work in his favour, but it could also be like strangle some of that creativity that we know that he has.
But I think he wants to, as a player, he wants to evolve as well. I think he wants to win trophies, and I feel he's got a better chance of winning trophies. No disrespect to Aston Villa fans, but he's got a better chance of winning trophies at Man City than he has at Aston Villa.
That's a fair point. And I think that's the argument he's made, and I think that's you look at what Man City have done, that's definitely something that he feels like he can achieve there, and he will achieve there. So talking about trophies, of course, it's a brand new season that's around the corner. It's going to start very, 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 very soon. And then, of course, what's been very interesting over the years, I remember when Arsene Wenger used to get crucified for this talk about the top 4 being a trophy, and it was, it's not a trophy, it doesn't matter. But yeah, as time goes on, that focus has changed, and everyone's been trying to get into that holy grail. So looking at it, what are your predictions for the top 4 this coming season? We'll start with you, Matthew.
So at the top, of course, I'm biased. I'm going to say biased because I do genuinely think it could happen. If Lukaku hits the ground running properly like I think he can, I think we will win the league. But I don't think it's going to be a walk away. I think it's going to be it's going to be to the wire.
Okay.
With a couple or maybe 1 or 2 games to spare. I don't think we're going to have it all of our own way, because the other teams look around, in particular the Manchester clubs, they have strengthened. I can see, for the first time in a long time, I can actually see Man United pipping City just to second. They've got the players. Here's the thing that kind of, with Man United, has always been a strange situation since Ollie's arrived. They have good players. They have very good players. And I think that adding Sancho and potentially adding Varane as well is going to be massive for them. They're so close to getting back to where they think they deserve. For me personally, is just one problem in the way. It's their manager. I don't think they're going to do anything. He's been there nearly 3-4 years. If he's not going to do it now, before he hasn't done it before, I don't think he's going to do it now. He's got World Cup players, winners in his team. I just think it might be too much for him to really manage. But I think I can see City finishing 3rd. I really can see City finishing 3rd until Jack Grealish is a great acquisition. He's still got De Bruyne, obviously. Got to talk about De Bruyne either. Their depth is crazy, but they've got Asian players and they haven't got a striker to fill in that hole where Aguero was. Jesus doesn't do it for me. He's good, but he doesn't do it. But the window hasn't finished, and there's still one mystery player that potentially could be joining, which would be crazy if it did. So Chelsea, Man United, Man City. I can see Liverpool completing that top 4. I think it's the same top 4 teams we had last year, albeit in a different kind of position. I think, and now Tuchel's been there now for a year. He's been in the Premier League. He knows how to work it. The players that he likes, the formations he has, trying to get everyone playing. I think we will be. I don't think we're going to walk it. I think it's going to be one of those ones where it's to be a 1-2 game, maybe even a final day resolution. But that's my top 4 right there.
Okay. Craig, what's your top 4?
Well, I feel Liverpool might do something this season because they've got all the players that were injured last season are back now, and I feel like this is the last season for all of them, age-wise and they might have to break up that squad sooner or later. I thought this is maybe the season where they could challenge or maybe win the league again. So I have them. If Chelsea, I wouldn't write them off. And you got Man City. You can't write off Man City. If they get a striker in after Grealish, they could go for a clean sweep. And you got Man United, where you can't underestimate them because they've got history and they've got some good players with potential who can do well. So to me, to put in the top 4, I would say maybe Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, and Man United. Or
So Chelsea top.
Liverpool second, Man United, Man City, then Man United. It could go either way. It could go either way.
So, interesting. I mean, I don't know if Chelsea have done enough to close the gap between them, City and Liverpool. I still think Liverpool and City are the two teams that are just a cut above everybody else because they've done it for consistent number of seasons, and also for both teams where they fell off in performance, they can easily kind of rectify that. Man City, goals wasn't really the issue last season. So I think they've lost a goal scorer that was injured for a good chunk of it. So they can replace that. They'll go on another level. For Liverpool, the issues were at the back, and they've signed the new centre-back. Konate is really, really good, very promising. Has injury issues, but really promising. And of course, they've got Van Dijk and Gomez back. They've also got Matip back. So they've got options defensively. And the rest of the team picks itself. Jota, very, very, very... It's a smart... That was a very good signing. Because looking at what he will add to the team, or he is adding to the team, it's like they've taken the best elements of Firmino's game plus the movement and unpredictability of Salah and Mane, and he got it in one player. Because he's quick, he's got amazing movement, and his finishing is just there.
That
so
was a good signing.
I would say, of looking at them, I'm going to back Liverpool to win it.
That's not a bad idea.
And I'm not being paid to say that. I'm back Liverpool for number 1. I'm going to go for Man City... No, I'll go for Chelsea second, City third, and then United fourth. Only because I think Liverpool just have a bit more, and I honestly think they took last season as okay, fair enough. We won't push as hard as we need to push to get where we need to get to. See, we'll use this as a development year, and we'll go stronger. Or as Steven Gerrard would say, we'll go again this season. So that's how I'm going to back it.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
That's not a bad prediction at all.
Yeah.
What do we do about Arsenal? Because obviously we're not in this discussion anymore. We've fallen off so badly.
I feel the problem is that it's going to take obviously what they're trying to do, they're trying to bring in younger players to replace the older players, and hopefully in a couple of seasons time I see us challenging again. I feel because we've got a lot of players are quite young, so I feel the more experience they get, in a couple of seasons, we've got some great young players coming through, so I think we'll challenge again soon. Not right now, maybe in 2 or 3 years, seasons' time, we'll be challenging again.
I don't know. I mean, I
hope so. I'm hopeful.
I'm optimistic, but I look at it realistically, and I think the gap between Arsenal and fourth
is getting bigger.
At least £150 million worth of talent. Which I don't know whether we can't spend, we don't want to spend. Depends how you look at it, because money exists and our owners have money. They just use it in a very interesting way. So that's the big question: is will they do what needs to be done to kind of make that gap distance between the very, very best and us who are so far off the pace? Like we've slowly fallen off, and then we've just dropped off a cliff. I mean, 8th 2 seasons in a row. I would love to say Arsenal would finish 5th. I'd love to say it. With the current squad, I don't see it. I really don't, because I don't know where the goals are going to come from. That's my biggest concern right now is the lack of goals. Defensively, I think we'll do okay, but going forward, there's just not a lot of goals.
Yeah, keeper, second keeper as well.
And a right
backup keeper, and we need a lot.
We need major surgery basically.
We need a lot.
The problem is that I don't know. As you said, other teams are spending a lot more money than us in the summer. Aston Villa done well. They bought Danny Ings in. They bought Buendia. They bought some good players coming. They bought some good players to replace Grealish and Leon Bailey. So they could potentially go above us, even higher up. And you got Everton.
Tuanzebe coming back to Villa as well.
That's what I'm saying. You got Everton as well. You got Aston Villa. You got Everton. You got who else?
Leicester and West Ham.
Leicester, like they're the ones who could potentially knock on that top 4 door.
Well, yeah, I think Leicester are gonna want to go for that because they've been close.
Don't write them off.
I mean, last season they should have gotten it.
They should.
And you know, we're not going to touch on managers today, but I think there's a couple managers in this league who this season are going to be under the lights, under a lot of pressure. Brendan is one, Mikel, Jet Black is obviously another, and Ollie at the wheel. Those are the three suspects, I would say, in terms of managers who are going to be under severe scrutiny. Will be those three because of. Well, I mean, you can obviously pick other people from other clubs. You can look at Tuchel, you can look at others. But those are the three I'd say there's a lot of expectation, not just because of money spent, but because of where you want to get to. Leicester, that you could argue, well, you know, they've won the league, they've won the FA Cup now, the Community Shield, they've come close here and there. And they're back in Europe again. But it's like, what's the next phase of their development?
Yeah.
Can Rodgers take them there? Man United, like you said, that title push, they need to be getting there at some point.
Yeah.
Is this the season, or do they need more time, or does it need to be someone else? And then for Arsenal, again, it depends on what the ambition is for the owners. But if Arsenal want to get back into Europe, this experimentation with Arteta at some point has to start to bear fruit. Now, will it be this season? Time will tell.
I think with like the Arsenal, my brother, he's an Arsenal fan as well, so we always try to have his talk as well. And it's strange because when we were growing up, he would always be the one to have the bragging rights, but to the point where now, I remember talking about the second leg against Villarreal. You would talk about Villarreal to get into the final, and it just shows you how much the expectation has dropped. I remember watching back when Arsenal were way more dominant, going into Champions League ties with Real Madrid, confident with their chests, going to Inter and Juve in their prime, and you know, getting something. And I'm asking him about a game against Villarreal. Are you confident? No, straight away. No thinking the time. No, he said. But so it gives me time to kind of analyze what's going on at Arsenal. Plus, with the way social media works and AFTV and all these fans in this, there's a lot of people know a lot about Arsenal but don't support Arsenal, which is, I find, quite an interesting thing. But going back to with the Arsenal thing, it's always something to wonder, what would I think was goes on in Arsenal. I'll be honest, I don't know why your manager's still there. I don't know. If it was me, I don't know why he's still there. But I'm talking from my team's point of view, a Chelsea point of view, with winning, the expectation of winning. And yeah, all right. I remember when you beat us in the FA Cup final. Fine, great. But where's the build from it? Normally, maybe go for a top 4 push, finish 5th, get to a European final. Maybe not necessarily win, but get to it. I don't know. And comes down to your players as well. Your best players are your youngsters, like your Smith. You got some banging youngsters. Smith Rowe, Saka, obviously, Balogun, Willock. I mean, how do I know all these Arsenal players?
Willock's going to be gone, so...
And Willock's going to go. Willock's is going to go as well, but it's just like... I'm not looking at your... I don't think your youngsters are the problem. I think they're great. I'm looking at your senior players as well. And there's certain times where they complain about you spending money. You are spending money, but it's just how you're doing it. I'm thinking... Taking on players like when you took Willian and David Luiz from us, I was like, fine, thank you, great, make more space for us. That's fine. I'm not going to make a hoop spur about it. I mean, I appreciate their time, but you know, no sweat off our back. But I don't know. I mean, where do you put the blame? Is it the players? Is it the manager? Is it the board? Is it the fans? What? At some point, it's like. It almost seems you need... It's never a good thing to see... I know it's a rival club. It's never a good thing to see a club in such disarray to the point that you can't even have that friendly banter anymore because it's just not funny anymore.
Yeah, it's tragic.
It's not fun. I mean, you know...
It's been happening since 2016 when we went on holiday. Since that time.
No, I'd probably say longer than that.
Way before then, yeah.
2000 and... after the Invincible season.
No, I'd say it's from
06.
No, I'd say I'd say so after 08. 07, 08 was like the Renaissance season where it that's the season where you looked and thought something's not right here because we were so close.
You were really, yeah.
We were one signing away from winning the league.
There were a couple seasons after that. Well, when you just moved to the Emirates, where a couple of times where like we could have won here or we could have made a better push or something. But for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And then, I don't know, certain events happened. Was it the 8-2? Was it Van Persie going? Was it Leicester winning the league? I mean, I don't get why. It's like I talk to fans where Leicester won the league, and obviously when we fell off, where all the big teams fell off, and I always said none of the big teams have anything positive to talk about that season. All should be ashamed of ourselves. I was. There's no way you can be feeling good about how a season went. Goes, we finished second. Who finished first? Who finished first?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm sorry, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, City, United, Liverpool. You got nothing to say about. You can't talk that season. You write that one off. And maybe I don't know. Is it? That's why I don't know. What can you do? Obviously, I don't want to see you battering us all the time, but it's just sad to watch. I can't. It's
a sad fall from grace, and I feel that it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of time, and I think fans have had enough of time and patience. Arsenal fans are not going to be patient anymore because they've been waiting for years. They want to see instant success because they've been waiting and waiting and waiting. That's why I think it's a bit toxic when other fans are getting upset, because not toxic where they want to see the club do well. They're passionate. They want to see the club do well, and they feel every time we don't do well, they get more and more depressed, upset, not happy. So when I don't know.
Well, I think fans will be patient if there's a project to get behind. I think the bigger issue is that what's there to be patient over, and even with Arteta, I think one of the biggest problems is that you've gone to youth now after your plan A failed spectacularly, which was going for the experienced players, thinking that will give you a quick boost back. Now you're going youth. If you'd started with youth, I think fans would be a lot more patient with you. If he was to turn around now and say, yeah, we're going on a youth project, you're not really. You stubborn. You only picked Smith Rowe because you got desperate and there was no one else left to pick. Even though fans could have told you from the summer he would have done the same thing if you'd started him back then when you knew you weren't going to play the old number 10. So why I don't know. So I mean, for me, I'm concerned with preseason because I'm not seeing a lot of improvement. I'm seeing a lot of the same problems. We get the ball to the box and then it's just like no one knows what to do, but not to do with it. Bamyan looks badly out of fitness. It just looks off, and it's concerning. And hopefully, it's just a thing where some players in preseason they don't really. It's just a fitness thing. It's fine tuning because he's getting in the right positions, but something he just seems off, half a step off. And that's the bigger concern. But we'll see how things go and whether he will kind of get it together.
Do you want to
at it?
Would you want him to stay or go? Or?
Where's he going to go and who's going to take his wages? That's the issue.
And his age as well. He's like
31, 32 now, isn't it?
He's turning 32 this season. So
he's on that wrong end of where a top flight. Well, I'm not saying that. I mean, Jamie Vardy's 34 and he can still do it. So
having said that, if he went to Man City, he'd bag and be top scorer. It's one of those crazy things where it's like maybe part of the issue is what the manager wants from the striker, because I don't think a striker should be doing all this hold up play and backing in, and it's just not necessary. Like, your job is to score goals. Just focus on that. The build up play stuff, that's not your responsibility. I don't know why that's become a thing. Just because some teams pull it off really well, doesn't mean that should be the blueprint for everyone else. Just because Firmino can do it, like even Aguero, he was getting dropped when Pep first came in because his hold up play and his build up play wasn't good. It's like, who cares? Some of the goals Aguero would score with like barely any space. You've not even shifted halfway. He would just make a fraction of, and then bang, it's a goal. Yeah. Who cares about build-up play when you got a player that good in the box?
Do that.
and like that's why thinking about Harry Kane and his situation, I think he needs to get back to doing what he does best and just focus on scoring goals and stop all this dropping deep and false playmaker, clip the ball out wide and then run. I get your ankles aren't the best, but just stay in the box. Like, that's where goals are made. And if you'd done that a bit more, anyway. But yeah, so that's what matters. We don't need you doing build-up play. Just stay forward. So, window's almost shut. Got a few weeks left to go. What signings are you expecting? What movement are you expecting between now and the end?
Lukaku
to Chelsea.
Just hurry up.
And if you don't sign him, do you still back yourself to go top and win the league? Because I mean, it looks like it's going to happen. Obviously, barring Inter Milan. I mean, Inter need the money, so nothing should block it. But if it doesn't go through, do you still back yourself to win it?
Not to sound like a one-man team, but probably not, because I know we've given that time to Werner. Tammy Abraham, I like Tammy, but he's had chances and...
Not many under Tuchel, though. Tuchel was just kind of I feel like he came in and just like, nah, I don't fancy him, and hasn't really given him any games.
Well, with the payoff, but with the payoff of what Tuchel did at the end of the season, you kind of back that. We got to the top 4, we got to 2 finals, we lost one, but we won one. And I did feel that with him, he found something with Werner and Havertz, in his own kind of unique way. Not really, no. I think we need someone more confident and clinical in front of goal. Not saying that Werner can't get there. I think he will. I just think he needs times to adjust. He's young. He's on a bumper contract. It will come. It will come. Drogba didn't hit it for like 2 seasons, and look what happened with him. So I'm not gonna say he's gonna do the same as Drogba, but I just think he needs time. But with Lukaku, he's proven, he's experienced, he's confident. He had a decent Euros as well, and he's 20, he's 28, so he's got time on it. He's got time on his side, and we've got for 5 years. So yeah, I mean, but I don't know who else we're looking at. I know we're looking at Haaland, but I think that's kind of that
He's
ship,
not going anywhere this summer.
That ship has sailed.
Mm-hmm.
That ship has sailed. I can only really see, apart from thinking someone else in defence to kind of take on from if Thiago Silva could get injured or something. But yeah, I think Lukaku is going to go through. It's just a case of when. Stop keeping me in suspense. Keep checking my phone. Medical in London. I know he's in London. I saw the plane. I know he's here. Just hurry up. Yeah, I haven't really given much thought to who else I think we might need. I really haven't, because I think he knows something. Again, he knows something that I don't. He might have something different. He I don't know.
And you wouldn't take Kane?
Depends on the price. Depends on the price. How much is someone asking for again?
150.
Not 120.
150.
150. Daniel Levy, man. Gosh.
But the thing is that Chelsea and Tottenham don't do transfers. They don't sell to each other. And Daniel Levy will not sell Harry Kane to Chelsea.
I'm not paying that money for him. I'm not paying 120. No.
That's not gonna happen. I can see him going to Man City though, if Levy decides to.
City will pay it.
Yeah.
City will pay the money.
They'll pay it. They don't mess about when it comes to getting players.
Going back to what I was saying before, filling that hole from where Aguero was, they do need a striker.
And imagine the balls that De Bruyne is given, or Grealish is given to Kane, or Sterling given to Kane.
De Bruyne, Grealish, Sterling. If Bernardo Silva stays, like you said, Fernandinho. If he stays in that spot where he can score goals,
Guardiola's not going to want a problem. Guardiola's not going to want him to be running up and down, being playmaker. He's going to tell him, stay in the box, stay in that 18-yard box, in between the lines, stay there in between the goalkeeper, and bang, every time. In between the 2 defenders, yeah.
That's where he's at his best, honestly is. So if City get him, we've got a problem. I would have to rethink my top 4 finishes. Oh, God. But yeah, I can't see anyone.
It's interesting. Well, we got a lot to talk about, but we're going to save some of that for future episodes to come. I think one thing that's going to be very interesting, which we're going to do a discussion on, is comparing football eras. Because, of course, we have had the benefit of living through the several golden eras of football. And right now it's a bit of a weird one, because I feel like we have a lot of very talented players, but I don't think the spread of quality of players now is the same as the before.
No,
when you talk about like the late 90s, the early 2000s, when you had like Fiorentina, that was just an unbelievable team. You had your Udinese's unbelievable team. You had and I'm just talking about your Italian teams, and you look across to France, and just the spread of talent was way better than what it is right now. And I feel like we've gone through the post Galacticos. It's been too much like collecting Infinity Stones and people trying to gather up the best players in one spot, and that spread is not quite been the same, but hopefully that will kind of slowly come back again, because everything goes in cycles. So we may have another cycle where, especially with money being the way it is, and transfers being difficult, we're going to probably see a lot more free transfers. We're probably going to see a lot of really talented players staying at clubs to help build them up. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how that goes, but that will come in a future episode. I guess one final thought for all of you: what's one thing you're really looking forward to seeing this season? I'll start with you, Craig.
Just exciting football, entertaining football. Just have a great season. Like I want to see like a lot. I want to see an underdog win something this season. That would be very good. Like underdog, like last season, like when Leicester won the FA Cup, everyone thought that Chelsea were going to win it. No disrespect to Chelsea fans,
So
but
did I.
everyone thought they were going to win it, and then Leicester won. So it'd be good to see, like, say for example, say a Brentford, for example, do well in the League Cup, get to the League Cup final, and do well, and they may win it. That's an example.
That'd be quite nice, actually.
Yeah. Just not always the big teams winning thing. It'd be nice if a smaller club does something big, and it'd be good. Yeah, just a change of the narrative a bit. Yeah.
Matthew, what are you looking forward
I
to?
want to see an entertaining title race. It's been far too long since we've had a title race that's gone down to the wire, where you got two teams on like level goal difference, level points, level everything, going down to the last day. I think the last one
Was the Aguero season.
was the Aguero one. That was only 10 years ago. A proper like nail biter. Like, just that I know it would be nicer and easier to get through there stress free. But from a neutral, say, I mean, I don't mind if my team's not in it, but the neutral, you want to see like, oh, let's go down to the wire and see who goes, because it can be really unexpected. I think the last time there was that one, but that was very exciting. There was one where it was recently was Liverpool and Man City, but I think that was almost a foregone conclusion, because I know City went down, but then they came back up again, so it wasn't really that interesting. I mean, it would be great to see 4 teams involved. It would be great, like a complete rank outsider. It's just someone does something a bit different. I mean, it's very entitled to ask that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to kind of see. But it's like you said, what Craig said, like, you got a lot of other small teams coming up. You know, Leicester on the come up, West Ham on the come up. I mean, I'm gonna throw a dark horse. I think Leeds. I think Leeds, if they can get something together and they keep their players and just not be as chaotic, they could do some damage.
And they keep their manager as well.
And they keep the manager. I mean, I think most of the teams that went to Ellen Road, no one really actually won from the big teams. So they know they ain't mugs, and they got history on their side. It would be nice to see something like that. I don't know, a Leeds or a Brentford final in the Carabao Cup. Another mystery team that wins the FA Cup, not Arsenal, Chelsea, all them typical things, but just something, some excitement. I think when we talk about more about exciting like leagues and seasons, I think that's what kind of what we're missing. Some like the characters and the unpredictability. And watching like 05, 06. I don't know if you guys remember some of the goals that were scored.
I remember.
Like what was the man's name?
Matty Taylor.
Huh?
Matt Taylor.
Matt Taylor, Tunchai from Blackburn. Only scored worldies. No tappings, no headers, bangers. Oh, but some excitement. But depends on them. Come on.
One question I'd like to ask you, man. You know, you're talking about you would love to see like top four teams in like final day of the season. What about like the relegations? And imagine like the Premier League at last game of the season, 4 teams battling out for relegation, 4 teams battling to win the league. So the entertainment is like up and down. I think that would be like interesting as well. So 4 teams are battling for relegation, last game of the season. 4 teams are battling to win the league, last game of the season. I think that would be entertainment quality.
The other end. Yeah, the relegation battle gets tied up too early.
Yeah.
Because last year Sheffield United were a given, and then eventually West Brom and followed suit. But yeah, just both ends. Where again, I'll go back to 2000s when West Brom were bottom at Christmas, first team to survive. And that was probably just as entertaining as the probably more entertaining than Chelsea win the league after all 50 odd years. That was great. I mean, I have about 6 teams who I think will be involved, but again, take it down to like proper watching, switcheroo here, there, blah, 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 blah. I'd love to see that.
And the thing is as well, do you remember when West Ham got relegated with 42 points in 2002? 02? Yeah, 02.
When West Ham,
when it was the last game of the season, it was between West Ham and Middlesbrough to get relegated. It was West Ham and Bolton, sorry.
Yeah.
And West Ham played Birmingham in Birmingham's ground, and Bolton played Middlesbrough at Bolton's ground. And it came down to goals, and I think Bolton scored in the last minute of the game to win the game, and Birmingham drew 2-2 with West. Either they drew 2-2 or they lost. I think West Ham won or they lost. I think they lost 3-2 against Birmingham, or it was 2-2 draw, and they were relegated on 42 points. And normally 42 points will keep you up.
Yeah.
So that season was very entertaining.
Mad to see. Oh, and I want to see some excitement. You know, is that? I mean, I don't know if that's too much to ask or depending, but
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see a lot of goals. I think one of the things that I've not liked with the Premier League in the last few years is that it's just become too. The money is such a big thing, and points are so important. It's like every game, everyone's having deep blocks, and it's just like I just want to see goals again. I just want to see a goal glut fest, even if it means that my team suffers as a result. So be it. If it's for the good of the rest of the league, is entertaining. Like I want to see some 4-5. I want to see some 5-4s. I want to see some 3-2s. I want to see some 6-7-6. Like 7-6 would be crazy, but I want to see some numbers where you're like, this is a ridiculous game.
it's just like that time in Reading. Where Reading were in the Premier League. They scored 4 goals in 2 games, and they lost both of them. They scored 4 goals, and they still lost both those games. Is that what you mean? Like,
yeah, I just want the numbers of goals to go back up, because I think at the end of the day, we've all suffered as people for the past 2 year and a bit. Like it's been rough, and I think we need some excitement. So I think, in as much as it's important to stay up, and the points are important, and the money, because for being relegated, you obviously lose a lot. I think most importantly, let's get the entertainment factor back into football, because if we're not going to get it domestically, we can quickly switch over to France, because we're going to get it over there. We're going to get goals. You know, if we want to see a very entertaining league, or in terms of unpredictable outcome, Spain could be a shout, because Barcelona are no longer what they were anymore, and Madrid aren't that frightening. But we've all got France. We want goals. We can go to France. We can watch the French league, and we can look at Germany if we want to get goals. So England, step it up.
There's one league we're forgetting about for unpredictability.
Obviously, Italy.
The Championship.
Oh.
The Championship. If I want to find the person who can try and predict who is going to do anything in the Championship.
That's the hardest league.
That's just chaos, though.
It's chaos. It's the single. But that's what it is. I've been to Championship games as well. It's like you said. It's actual chaos, because you don't. I mean, right now I could say. I mean, in my dream world, QPR go win the Championship, because that way, if Brentford stay up with Chelsea, Fulham come up with his thing,
you get all your rivals.
All my rivals are right there. We can batter them. They can come back down. In my dream world. But again, who's going to win? Who's going to win? I know we said Brentford because they had the final the previous year. They finally did it this year. Thank goodness. But yeah, again, it's like Norwich came back. Watford come back. Brentford finally, they dug deep and they found out. But again, there's still so many big teams down in there. You got Middlesbrough down there, Derby are down there, Bournemouth are down there. So close to getting back in. Swansea, Cardiff, always seems
Sheffield
United. I mean, just if you want, you can. I mean, obviously you got your foreign leagues, French, Italian, Spanish, German, even the Eredivisie as well. If you can find how to watch it, or the Portuguese league, if you could buy a thing on Sky Sports. But yeah, if you want the chaos that you can make no sense of, the Championship's a good place to go.
I second Matthew on the QPR. I think QPR might do well this season, because they've done well in pre-season. They beat Man United. They drew against Leicester in pre-season. They got some good ballers in their team.
But I mean, the trick of the Championship is, I think, you need to pace yourself. I don't think there's been any team that's been top, except for Leeds the second time around. It's the only team that's been top or there and thereabouts and come all the way up. Usually teams that start really strongly, they fade away in the back end. So you got to kind of pace it. Just be within touching distance, and then ramp it up from March onwards.
Because Brentford should be fine. Last year, Brentford were on top for a long, long time, and Norwich wormed their way back in. It's bounce back ability. They come back. So they did that. It'll be interesting to see if they can actually stay up for once and get relegated the next year.
Norwich, yeah. But they don't really spend a lot of money on players though. They're kind of like they'll develop a player and they'll sell them on for big money. They don't really spend like a 20 million or 50 million on a big name player. They'll buy like a unknown player and they develop him and then they make him into a star. Then they'll sell him off for big profit.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a system that works.
For some clubs, it works. I mean, we get foreign like Ajax, they do that. Benfica, they do that.
Dortmund,
big time, they do that. Yeah. Brentford as well. Southampton, a lot of these West Ham, a lot of these talent foundries where they just seem to be okay all the time.
I think Norwich is too good for the Championship, but they're in the balance. They're like bottom of the Premier League, so they're too good for the Championship. Whenever they're in the Championship, they always get promoted. and when they come to the Premier League, they always seem to struggle. So it's a bit of a Heckle and Jar situation with them. We don't know.
You don't want one Norwich.
Yeah,
See them come.
but I want to see what they do this season though. They got some decent players. Max Aarons, Cantwell.
So Cantwell as well. He might move.
He might go to
I think Villa are looking at him as a potential addition to what they've got.
Man, Villa are moving.
Well, they've done a smart thing. They stayed in the league. They want to push on. So let's see what they do. Final thing I'd say is for the end of year awards for the next coming season. So who are we putting down as your top goal scorer
in the Premier League?
Yeah. Obviously, it's a tricky one because you've got transfers still to be concluded. But let's just say the transfers you're expecting to happen. Actually, no, let's just say, who you putting as your top goal scorer? If whilst Matthew thinks Craig, who's your top goal scorer for this season? And a number and how many goals?
Can I put top 5 or there has to be an order? I'm going to have to put
Who's the top goal scorer? I don't need top 5. who you saying gonna come out on top this season?
Was it Kane last year, right?
Kane
last year.
Yeah.
How many did you get? 20?
21, 22. It wasn't
22.
not that high. We've had 30s easily at one point. I think Aguero got like 31 and Drogba got like 20 odd. Henry and all them ones. We were blessed strikers back then, just getting scoring goals for love.
I would say it's between Harry Kane and Salah. And if Lukaku signs, maybe Lukaku as well. It's between them 3.
So you have to pick one. You have to choose and that number their goals. Because Kane got 23 last season. Salah got 22.
Even Aubameyang was up there as well for a bit.
Yeah,
2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago.
This is a hard one, you know. I'll say I'm gonna shot myself in the hand here and say,
go on.
It's between Kane and Salah, man.
Just pick one. You said that before. Pick one.
I think Salah's gonna be top scorer this season.
How many goals?
20, 25.
25. Matthew, who you putting your money on?
Irregardless of where he goes, I think Kane's gonna do it again. Irregardless of where he is. 23. He's gonna be pushing for that Alan Shearer record, which I think he can do. So if he stays at Spurs, if he goes to Man City, he's gonna be. I think it's gonna be top. I think it's gonna be like what Craig says. It's gonna be very interesting. It could be very close between Kane, Lukaku, Salah, but there's always a dark horse in there somewhere. I mean, Bamford wasn't that far behind last year.
Ollie Watkins
wasn't that far behind.
Calvert-Lewin. Got some good young players.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about them. Oh,
but it depends on the system that Benitez played, because with Ancelotti, when he was there last season, they had more freedom. They had more attacking freedom. Benitez is more of a defensive coach. He might just want to play. That's why he brought in them wingers to kind of whip the ball into
cross.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna stick with Kane. 23.
Who do you think?
It's
a hard one. It's very hard.
It's not so much that it's a hard one because you're also thinking about the teams they play for. You're also thinking about like the transfers that could happen. So I'm gonna go for Lukaku because of how you play, and I'm gonna say Lukaku with 26.
Wow. I would love that. I hope you're right.
I'm gonna go for that.
So one said Salah, one said Kane, and one said Lukaku. Okay.
That's going to be... I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
So with these predictions, what we said, it depends on where they finish in the league. Whoever scores the most goals might win the league for their team.
Well, Harry Kane, they finished 7th?
Well, Tottenham ain't going to finish anywhere near anything useful, so it's more a case of wherever Kane goes to next.
It's between Lukaku and Salah then.
Yeah, wherever Kane goes to next, that will be the
final.
Yeah.
Depends what Nuno can get out of him as well.
And then who'll be player of the season?
I think Foden.
Foden, player of the season.
I think so. Young player.
I always said player of the season. We're not doing young yet. It's player of the season.
Player of the season. Okay.
It was De Bruyne last year.
I think it could be maybe Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes is player of the season. Wow, that's a hot take. Okay, we'll take that.
He had a good season last season.
Player of the season.
Do you want to do young player as well?
Yeah, let's do young player as well.
So you're saying Foden is young,
and that's it.
And Bruno is your main.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so hard. Just think of everyone who's gone on San transfer. Come on, think.
Young player of the
trying to
season.
don't always go for the obvious ones.
I think a random shout. I don't know if it's even possible, but I think a random shout is Harvey Elliott at Liverpool for young player of the season. That is like a left field shout because he looks,
young player.
Yeah, he looks really sharp in his preseason. So he would be like my left field shout for young player of the season. Depends on the minutes. If I'm going to go off people that are going to be genuinely playing week in, week out, then I say Starboy, Bukayo Saka, young player of the season. I mean, if he gets that, Arsenal will have a very good season.
Or Smith Rowe.
No. And then
I like his shot.
Because what he needs to do, the numbers he'll need to do to get that's just a lot. And then for player of the season, I'm going to go Harry Kane.
Interesting.
And it will make sense if it means he wins his first ever trophy. So Harry Kane, player of the season.
Matthew?
Even though I've not backed him as top goal scorer. So how does that all work?
I don't know. Young player, I'm going to go with yours. I'm going to go with Saka. I think he's riding on a great wave right now. For the games he played in the Euros, he did good. He's a good player. He's a player I've always admired, regardless of who he plays. And there's got nothing to do with football. He's a local lad. His school is near where my dad lives. If that's got to do with anything, but I genuinely think if he stays fit, he stays focused, and you can kind of work with him or around him. I think Arsenal can actually. Plus, you got no Europe, which is actually you're going to find out is actually a godsend because not being in Europe is not always being in Europe all the time is not always cracked up to be. If you're not competing, if you're just going for top round of 16 every single time, you're not competing. Spend that time focused domestically. I think you could. I'm not saying you can get into a top 4, but I think you'd be, queuing for the door if that makes sense. Almost like late entry, 1 a.m. sort of thing. Think of it like that. I think he will be young player of the year. He's running a good wave. Main player of the year, that is always very... Because I think De Bruyne got it last season. But last season was a weird one. It's such a hard thing to think of. It's really difficult. Because even young player of the year, I have other candidates. Foden's a good one. I think if he can stay fit, I think Reece James could do one as well. If he stays fit and focused again. And man, he keeps getting picked. You said, what was that?
What, Mason Mount?
The thing is, I guess with like player of the year, young player of the year, when you're in more defensive positions, the output you need to produce on a weekly basis to be recognised is a lot harder than if you're attacking. For an attacker and a midfielder, it's easier to be recognised. When you're a defender, you have to have been like putting in 8 or 9 out of 10 performances week in, week out, and your absence is magnified for your team. Like I remember when Perez won it as a wing back, as a left winger in his first season at Arsenal. No, his
second season
at Arsenal, but he got injured for half the year, but he still won player of the year because he was just that good. And his impact was just that high.
Didn't Kante win it as well? Player of the year?
Yes, at Leicester.
Yeah, he did win it at Leicester because two players.
Oh no, was it Mahrez who won it? No, it was Kante. Then Mahrez won it at City.
Yeah. Oh, player. You said Fernandes, didn't you?
The reason why I said Fernandes, let me give you the reason why I said Fernandes, because ever since he's transformed United since he's been there. He has. The amount of winning trophies, but before he came there, Man United was struggling.
Man says Fernandes is transferred Manchester United.
I think he has.
He scores their penalties.
Yeah, scores their goals.
Transformed.
Well, they were struggling before he came.
He's improved them. Yeah. He's not transformed them. Transformed them. Penaldes. I have no words. Anyway.
Oh, this is such a hard thing to think of player of the year because it can depend on so many things.
What name's in your head? We'll go with that. Okay. Who's popping up in your head?
Van Dijk keeps coming up and I don't know why.
Let's sit with that then.
I don't know why. Why not? I mean, he had a year out. The year before he was a monster. that time out. I mean, a wounded animal is a dangerous thing. He could be more dangerous than ever when he comes back. It's a hot take. It's a boiling.
It's not a hot take. It's. I mean, if Van Dijk wins Player of the Year, it means Liverpool won the league, and it probably means that they've got one of the lowest goals conceded rates in history. It probably means that they've not lost many games. It's possible.
I don't know, yeah, because
he is that good.
We'll have to pick a Chelsea player. We're not going to be too biased. So I'm fine. He keeps coming up in my head. I'm going to go with him. Hot take, I know, but fine. Yeah, go on then.
That works. All right. Well, you've heard our predictions for this coming season, our expectations, our hopes, and we'll see how accurate they are. Matthew, thanks for joining us for the first episode of a Kick to Glory podcast.
Hey.
Craig, as always, my name's Clive. We've got Malachi in the back helping us with the visuals and all that. We will be back after this first weekend of games to discuss how they all go. Got Arsenal Brentford at the weekend or on Friday, so hopefully that all goes well, and we'll see how this year goes. That's us signing out.